Where do I even start? Where do I even start? 32 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks, 7 threes, 11 for 20 in only 31.
Basketball fans, whether you're diehard or just tuning in, Saturday, June 14th gave us more than just a game. It was a moment of pure payback that couldn't have been scripted better. What unfolded wasn't just about points on the board, it was about setting the record straight. Call it sweet justice, a bit of well-timed karma, or just the basketball world balancing itself out. Either way, it was a moment to remember.
And just like that, she's back. Caitlin Clark drops 35 after her 5-game layoff from injury. It was at a point where she scored 9 points in less than 45 seconds. I mean, crossing the half-point line, one dribble, and just pulling it from the logo. Like, these plays are...
The Indiana Fever stepped onto the court at Gainbridge Fieldhouse with one goal in mind: to end the New York Liberty's perfect season, and leading the way, none other than Caitlin Clark. Back. After missing 5 games with an injury, she was ready to show everyone why she's one of the most exciting players in the game today.
Well, the Indiana Fever, I'm watching it. It just went final, 102-88 over the league undefeated, now defeated, New York Liberty. New York Liberty, Stephanie White didn't...
Liberty came in riding high with a flawless 9-0 record, acting like the league was already theirs. But they were in for a serious wake-up call. This wasn't just another game. It was personal. It was about making things right and finally leveling the playing field.
Well, the Indiana Fever say, come on, New York. Come on. Somebody's got to give you this first L, and I guess it's going to be us. No Jonquel Jones, but the Indiana Fever handled business. 102-88. We finally hit triple digits thanks to CC22.
The last time these teams faced off, things didn't end quietly. In the final seconds, Liberty's defensive standout Natasha Cloud stole the ball from Clark, but Clark believed she was fouled. The refs didn't blow the whistle, and that no call stuck with her. It was the kind of moment you don't forget. And she hadn't.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Caitlin Clark put on a show, dropped 25 in the first half. Then she was diamond here, diamond there. They scored over 100 points first time in the season, and they gave New York Liberty their first L. Take that L, go back to the Hudson River, and go back to New York with that L. You know what I'm saying? And I can't stand Sabrina. I'm going to call her Sabrina, I flop you. Because all she does is flop. I can't stand Sabrina Ionescu. She's a flopping machine. I'm glad she's taking that L today. Caitlin Clark, 32 points, 7 for 14 from 3, that's 50%, 8 rebounds, 9 assists. She almost had a double-double, almost close to it.
Don't forget to subscribe. Caitlin Clark had been out for 5 games with a quad injury, watching from the sidelines while her team struggled, and the WNBA's ratings took a serious hit. With viewership dropping by 55%, it became crystal clear just how much the league relies on her star power. Without Clark, it just wasn't the same. But then came Saturday. She didn't just return. She came back with a bang. Clark lit up the court with purpose, and let's just say, Natasha Cloud was clearly in her sights.
Caitlin Clark, 9 points in 20 or 38 seconds. Oh my goodness. Came back to back logo threes. For a minute, man, I told the chat, call the cops on Caitlin Clark for logo abuse. Oh my goodness, man, she was killing.
From the opening tip, the energy in the arena was electric. The Liberty came out strong, quickly building a 17-6 lead and looking every bit like the defending champs. They were sharp, confident, and in control, like a team that hadn't lost in a while. For a moment, it looked like Clark's return might just be a side note. But then, with just over 3 minutes left in the first quarter, something shifted. Clark nailed a 3-point play, and you could see it. The fire was back in her eyes.
Indiana Fever. That is Fever basketball at its finest. Fever ball at its finest. As a team, by the way, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The least turnovers the Fever have had in a game as a team.
What happened next was nothing short of incredible. In just 38 seconds, Clark hit 3 straight three-pointers from 33, 27, and 31 feet out. Each one dropped clean through the net. The crowd went wild, and just like that, the game was tied at 2 for dot. This wasn't just about scoring. It was Clark making a statement. She was back. The injury hadn't slowed her down, and she was here to finish what she started. Those shots came from way beyond the arc, but to her, it looked effortless.
Wait, 3 threes in 38 seconds in the first half. Caitlin Clark hit 3 logo bombs, by the way. 3 logo bombs in 38 seconds. This was the Caitlin Clark we all said, oh, she's different. She's sent from outer space. The Caitlin Clark that we saw today was the Caitlin Clark that we were accustomed.
By halftime, Clark had already racked up 25 points, including 6 3-pointers, her highest scoring half as a pro. The Fever were up 53-50, and you could see the shift in the Liberty's faces. This wasn't how their perfect season was supposed to go. In the third quarter, New York came out swinging with a 9-0 run, trying to take back control, but Clark and the Fever weren't having it. They fired back with a crushing 19-0 run that left the Liberty scrambling. Every time New York tried to rally, Clark shut them down. Just when they thought they had her figured out, she'd hit another deep 3 like it was nothing.
Are one of the best and most elite performances we have ever seen from Caitlin Clark. Now, I gotta remind everybody about this. Caitlin Clark is coming off an injury, bro. What we seen today was greatness. This was similar to the Michael Jordan flu game. I mean, it's up there type deal, bro. Caitlin Clark just handed the New York Liberty the ass whooping of a lifetime. And what's crazy about all of this is that the referees couldn't even save them. See, last time the referees was able to save New York and they walked away with the victory. The game was so far out of reach, the referees had to.
This was easily one of Caitlin Clark's most impressive performances to date, truly elite, and let's not forget, she was just coming off an injury. What we witnessed wasn't just talent, it was greatness. Honestly, it ranks right up there with some of the most iconic performances in basketball history. Clark didn't just beat the New York Liberty, she dominated them. And here's the kicker, not even the referees could change the outcome this time. In their last meeting, some questionable calls helped New York pull off a win. But this game, it was so one-sided. The officials couldn't do a thing to stop.
I'm glad that New York got that L. They should have got the L the other game. Now they just got what they deserve. Okay, but Caitlin Clark went off. I'm happy. That is what people pay to see. You see the difference when Caitlin Clark is on the floor? She makes the whole offense way better. The offense is better. They're clicking. They're getting to their...
But all. Natasha Cloud did her best to stop the unstoppable, trying to guard Clark like using an umbrella in a hurricane. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. The same player who had taken the ball from Clark last time was now watching helplessly as Clark tore apart her team's perfect record. When the final buzzer rang, the scoreboard showed 88 points for the Fever. Clark finished with 32 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, and 7 3-pointers, tying her career high for threes made. But the numbers only tell part of the story. This was bigger than stats. It was about making a statement, settling the score, and sending a clear message. The Fever set a franchise record with 17 made 3-pointers, shooting nearly 49% from beyond the arc. They hit triple digits for the first time this season, and most importantly, they handed the mighty Liberty their first loss. And through it all, Clark led like a commander, driving her team to victory. Clip 10 for the Liberty. This loss was more than just a mark on the standings. It was a tough reality check, served with a dose of humility. Sabrina Ionescu gave it her all, scoring 34 points, and Breanna Stewart added 24. But it wasn't enough to stop the unstoppable force that was Caitlin Clark. The Liberty came in as the last undefeated team in the WNBA. They left with their perfect record broken and their confidence rattled. And then there's the point guard. Everyone's talking about Natasha Cloud, the same player who had been so sure of her defense. Just weeks ago ended up on the losing side of one of the most powerful individual performances we've seen in recent WNBA history. It seems the basketball gods have a sense of humor, and they made sure this was Clark's night to get her redemption. Clip.
Natasha Cloud's Linsanity run is over. As I said, her player of the week, the player of the week curse. We saw it happen to Kelsey Mitchell as well till the end of that game where she was so clutch. But her Linsanity run's over. I got a DM from somebody going, Natasha Cloud's great. What are you talking about? Her Linsanity run. I'm like, was her Linsanity run? I was like, she can play defense. She's not a great offensive player. Forget the referees. The referees. This was apparently a foul. This was apparently a foul on Lexi Hull. And there were so many of them throughout the game. Breanna Stewart shot 14 free throws. Stewie shot 14. Half of them.
That's the magic of sports. They tell stories that go beyond the game. Caitlin Clark came back from injury with something to prove. going head-to-head with the very player who had stopped her from winning last time. And she didn't just prove her point, she did it in the most powerful way possible, outplaying everyone and leading her team to a win over the league's best. This game's impact goes way beyond the final score. Clark's return has sparked a wave of excitement for the WNBA that no one expected. Highlights blew up on social media, ticket prices for Fever games jumped by over 360%, and suddenly, everyone was talking about women's basketball again. After seeing ratings drop while Clark was out, the league was reminded exactly why the WNBA commissioner calls her the most popular athlete in America.
This is what people pay to see, guys. That's why the TV rates are high when she's on TV. She's fun to watch. Girls balling out, back-to-back threes from the logos, man. She was going off tonight. And I was so glad that she's out there having fun, bro. Like, she was going off, bro.
The word undeniable exists for a reason, and it applies to Caitlin Clark. She is just absolutely undeniable, and her return to the Indiana Fever showed it once again. It felt like a jolt of energy to the WNBA, obviously to the Indiana Fever, who looked like a completely different team, as Caitlin Clark put on a show that only she can in leading the team to a win over the New York Liberty, the first L for the league.
At a point where she pulled from the logo, and her and Stewart were just laughing because it was just that unbelievable. I told y'all, face of the league.
And much to the credit of Caitlin Clark, this team won a massive